the result of what? A plus bi forms. So you'll try to express this at the form of what? A plus bi forms. So making the denominator real ማድረግ ነው. real ስናደርግ ምን ብለናል? This is 2 plus 3i divided by 3 plus I. So multiply both numerator and denominator by what? The conjugate of the denominator, we say this is minus I divided by 3 minus I, since the conjugate is this one. After that, multiply this. This means 2 times 3, that is 6. 2 times minus I, this is minus twice I, plus, but the next one, this 3i times 3, that is 9i. And 3i minus I, this is minus 3i squared. Here we go. Divided by, as we are familiar, the denominator becomes what? Real. That means the square of the real part, that's 3 square, plus the square of the imaginary part, that is 1 square. Then what the result? This is minus 3i square means what? This is negative 1 times negative 3. It becomes positive. So the result becomes, this is 9. The real part is 9. Minus 2i plus 9i, which is equals 7i. Here we go. And divided by 3 square 9 plus 1, that is 10. Which is equals to, we can express, here is 9 over 10 plus what for? 7 over 10 with the imaginary part. So we can express such forms. Similarly, you can consider the second one. It is given as the form of 3i cube plus 1 over 2 plus I, the whole square. In this case, let's try to simplify the inner one. This means 3i square means, as we performed before, 3i cube means I square times what? I. This means, which is negative 3i plus 1. Why? Since I cube is equals to I square times I, which is equals negative I. 2 plus I. The whole, then square it. This is equals to, we can express this as form of what? A plus bi forms. The inner one, which is equals to, multiply this minus 3i plus 1 divided by 2 plus I by the conjugate of the denominator. This means 2 minus I divided by 2 minus I, since this is the conjugate of our denominator. The denominator action conjugate 2 minus I ስለሆነ denominatorum እናባዛለን. But the next one, which is equals to minus 3i times 2i, this is equals minus 6i. Minus 3i times minus I, it becomes 3i square plus 1 times 2, that is plus 2. 1 times minus I, here is minus I, divided by the square of the real part, that is 2 square, the square of the imaginary part, that is 1 square. The whole system, that is squared. For the next one, which is equals 3i square means what? 3i square, that is negative 3 plus 2, this is equals negative 1. It is negative 1 minus 6i minus I, this is minus 7i, divided by, here is 2 square, that is 4 plus 1, that is 5. The whole square it. So the square of this is the denominator becomes 25. The square of this, as you are familiar for this one, a plus b square means what? Which is equals a square plus twice of ab plus, we say that is b square. We perform this one. So this is the square of the first negative 1 square plus twice of ab, 2 times negative 1 times, here is negative 7i, plus square of the second one, here is negative 7i square, divided by the square of the denominator again, that is 25. After that, collect real with real, imaginary with imaginary. Negative 1 square, that is 1. Negative 7i square is, that is negative 49. Negative 49 plus 1, which is equals negative 48. So twice of this is negative times negative is positive, it becomes 14, 1, 4, I. Divide by 25 means divide by this by 25, divide this 14 also by 25, which is equals to negative 48 over 25 plus 14 over 25 with the imaginary part. So we can express or perform in such forms. So we can do different problems or simplify different complex number at the form of a plus ib forms like this. In case of the last, that is 2 minus 2i, the power of 2 minus 2i over minus 1 plus i is the power of 3. This is equals to minus 1 plus I, the whole, that is 3, or cube of this, the cube of this one. In this case, let's try to perform the operation for the inner one. That means let's try to simplify it, which is equals, when you take 2 common, here is 1 minus I for the numerator. For the case of denominator, minus 1 plus I means what? Take negative 1 common, which is equals to 1 minus 1. To have the same or similar terms for numerator and denominator, which is the power of 3. As you observe here, we can take here 1 minus I by 1 minus I, what remains, which is equals to negative 2 to the power of 3. What the negative to the power of 3 means, this is equals to negative 8. So the result is this one. ስለዚህ የተለያዩ ጥያቄዎች አፒር ቢያደርጉ በዛ አይነት መልኩ ፐርፎርም ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ if you come across any problem ማንኛውም ጥያቄ ካላችሁ ኮሜንት ላይ አስቀምጡ። ቻናሉንም ሼር፣ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረጋችሁን አትርሱ። Now let us consider the next one. It says that if a plus ib equals x minus I the whole square over x square plus 1. Prove that it says a square plus b square is equals to 1. Let's try to show this. How can we find this? That means here we have a plus ib is equals to x minus I square means what? This means x minus I times here is x minus I divided by x square plus 1. When we come to here, we multiply this x by x, which is equals x square. X times minus I, here is minus x plus minus I times x, again here is minus ix, minus I times minus I, it becomes plus I square. Divided by the denominator is x square plus 1. This is x square plus I square, which is equals x square minus 1. Minus I, which is equals what? Minus 2ix. Divided by, this is x square plus 1. So we can express this as a form of a plus ib forms, which is equals x square minus 1 over x square plus 1 minus 2x over what? This is x square plus 1 with i's component. From this, we can find a and b. What is our a? Our a is x square. This is a. This one becomes that is b. The real part for left side, that a is equals x square minus 1, and the imaginary part for left side, that is b, is equals to minus 2x over x square plus 1. From this, we can perform a square plus b square. This means a square plus b square is equals to x square minus 1 over x square plus 1 the whole square, plus in case of b, here is negative 2x over x square plus 1 the whole square. This is x square minus 1 the whole square means what? The square of the first, that is x the power of 4, minus twice of a and b as we performed before, 2x square times 1, that is minus 2x square, plus the constant here is 1, divided by x square plus 1 the whole square, plus in case of b square, negative 2x square means what? That is 4x square divided by x square plus 1 the whole square. Since they have the same denominator, x square plus 1, we can take the sum of the denominator we have. Denominator to the same, we can take the sum of the denominators in that. This is equals x the power of 4 minus 2x square plus 4x square ማለት, which is equals to x square plus 1 divided by, which is x square plus 1 the whole square, the same denominator that we have. After that, you are found out that x the power of 4 plus 2x square plus 1 means what? Which is equals to x square plus 1 the whole square divided by, here is x square plus 1 the whole square. That means a number divided by the same number looks like this one. The same pattern is the same function we have, x square plus 1 the whole square, x square plus 1 the whole square. This is equals 1. Therefore, the result that we want to show is proved. This is what we want to show. ማሳየት የፈለግነው ይሄን ነው። therefore a square this is plus b square is equals to 1 ይሆናል ማለት ነው። በዛ አይነት መንገድ ሌሎችን የተለያዩ ጥያቄዎች አፒር ላይ ያደርጉ ይችላሉ or you may come across in different texts so whatever the case you will try to perform such forms የተለያዩ ጥያቄዎችን አፒር ቢያደርጉ በዛ አይነት መንገድ proof ወይም ደግሞ show ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ። The next one it says that find the smallest whole number n for which 1 plus I over 1 minus I the power of n is equals to 1. It says in case of whole number, as you are familiar, that means if this 1 plus I 1 minus I this is different from 0, since we are familiar, x is the power of n is equals 1 when if n is equals to what? N for instance 0 if it is whole number. So x is different from 0 again. In that case, we call this x is the power of 0 is 1. So 1 plus I 1 minus I is different from 0 and the power of n is equals 1. What is the value of n? If it is whole number, nothing is done. It's simply this n is equals to that is 0. In case of the second, that means find the smallest positive integer n for which this is equals to 1. In this case, 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I, the power of n means, let's try to simplify this. This is 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I and make the denominator real number, multiply both by the conjugate of the denominator as we did before. So this becomes 1 plus I divided by 1 plus I, since the conjugate of our denominator 1 minus I conjugate 1 plus I ስለሆነ ማለት ነው. This is equal to the power of n. Then what for 1 plus 1 that is 1 plus 1 plus I that is I plus 1 that is I times I, what for? This is plus I square. Divided by, the denominator becomes the square of the real part, that is 1, plus the square of the imaginary part, that is 1 square. The whole, the power of what? n. So, when come to here, 1 plus I square means this is negative 1. 1 minus 1, that is 0. Then, I plus I, this is twice I. Divided by 1 plus 1, that is 2. The power of what? n. For the next, we cancel 2 by 2, what remains? Which is equals to I the power of n. This implies that this I, the power of this n, is equals to what? When? Which is equals, you are familiar that I square is negative 1, and here is the power of what? n is equals to 1, which means I, the power of 2n is equals to 1. This I square is that is negative 1. That means I square is negative 1 the power of n. Sorry, this implies negative 1 the power of n is equals to 1 if and only for this implies if and only n is equals to what? Here is 2. So we want to find not this exactly 2, but we need 2 times n. 2 times, let's say this is m, sorry, we can express as form of this m. This is also what? m. This also, but the value of m is that is 2. What does imply? This implies that n is equals to, what is n? n is equals to 4. The smallest positive integer that satisfies this property is n is equals to 4. Or we can do it directly. ይሄኛውን በሌላ መንገድ መስራት እንችላለን። ምን ማለት ነው? Which is equals 1 plus I over 1 minus I the power of what? This is n. This means we can make the denominator real, which is equals 1 plus I, here is times 1 plus I, the conjugate of the denominator, 1 minus I times divided by this is 1 plus I, here, the power of n. Which implies 1 times 1, as we did, that is 1, plus 1 times I, that is I times 1, that is I times I, that is what? I square. Divided by the square of the real part, that is 1 square, the square of the imaginary part, that is 1 square. The whole, the power of n. So, what for? This is I square means negative 1, 1 minus 1, that is 0, it becomes twice I divided by, that is 2, the power of n is 1. We cancel 2 by 2, what remains? Which is equals I the power of n becomes. Then we can perform the operations as we are familiar. If n is odd, here what it becomes, if n is odd, I the power of n is imaginary part. Yes, it has imaginary part, cannot be real, but 1 is only the real part. So if even, then I the power of n becomes this, becomes what? Becomes real. So from this, I the power of n is equals 1. You can consider even numbers. So if n is equals to, it becomes what? I square is equals to 1, which is equals -1 is equals to 1. Is it correct? It is not correct. It is impossible. Similarly, if we have here also this one, if n is equals 4, which implies I the power of 4, which is equals I square the whole square. I square means -1. This means -1 square. -1 square means what? Which is equals 1. Yes, this implies n is equals to 4. Yes, it is correct. Similarly, you can perform n is equals 6 again if you want. N is equals 6, which implies I the power of 6. I the power of 6 means what? This is I square the whole that is 3. What is I square? I square means that is -1 the whole cube. -1 cube means what? This is equals -1, but it is different from 1. So it is impossible. We can't take n is equals 6. You can continue here. N is equals 8. This means I the power of 8, which is equals I square the whole that is 4. What is I square? Means -1. So -1 the power of 4 is equals to 1, which is equals to what you want to find. So the value can be what? A multiple of 4. If it is positive integer, 4, 8, and 12. From this, which one is the smallest of all? The smallest one that we want to find is n is equals to 4. ስለዚህ ትንሹ ማን ይሆናል ማለት ነው? 4 ይሆናል። በዛ አይነት መንገድ ሌሎችም ጥያቄዎች አፒር ያደርጉ በተመሳሳይ ሾው ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ። ማንኛውም ጥያቄ ኮሜንት ላይ ማስቀመጥ ትችላላችሁ። ቻናሉን ሼር፣ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረጋችሁን አትርሱ። ባይ ባይ።